7 bone-chilling road trip horror stories. The detour to a place that haunts forever. The car engine sputtered, sending a shockwave of dread through Travis's chest. Ambers of twilight danced on the horizon as he and his friends, Jamie and Derek, took that fateful detour. The GPS glitched. Just a blip, a hiccup, they thought. But fate had something sinister in store. A narrow road twisted ominously ahead, flanked by whispering pines and shadows that seemed to drip off the trees. Was it just the wind or something lurking in the invisible depths of the woods? A shiver crawled up Travis's spine. The vibrant colors of sunset faded to a dull gray. Reality slipped away. As they pressed on, flickering headlights cast strange shapes across the trees, figures that morphed the moment you tried to focus. It felt as though eyes were watching them. Suddenly, the radio crackled to life, static competing with a chilling voice that echoed just above a whisper. "Turn back," it warned. Jamie laughed nervously, but there was something wild in her eyes. "This is just a joke, right?" But every laugh fell flat against the mounting tension. Then, a thud. Derek slammed on the brakes, heart pounding, as they built a strong silence. No one dared to breathe. Shadows moved in the rearview mirror, darting away just as they turned to look. It was impossible. Their imaginations must have been playing tricks. But deep down, an unsettling truth lingered. They were caught in a twisted game far beyond their control. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Panic stirred as they caught sight of a decrepit sign. Haunted Hollow entrance. The word haunted felt like a brand on their skin. They hesitated, hearts racing like they were about to jump off a cliff. Should we really go in there? Jamie's voice trembled, tightening the knot of fear in their stomachs. But deep down, curiosity clawed at them, driving them forward. It was just a place, they told themselves. Just a stop along the way. But Travis could almost hear the woods breathing, a sound filled with dark laughter. A hollow chill settled over the car, thick as fog. Derek, shaking now, suggested they keep close, and then, right in front of them, the clouds parted, revealing a moonlit clearing. It shone like a beacon, a deceptive calm amidst growing dread. Travis looked around. The trees were too still, too quiet. Was this the moment they should turn back? Something glimmered past the clearing like a trapped memory, something that whispered promises of terror. As they stared, frozen in time, a shadow detached itself from the woods and moved towards them. It was a figure, obscured and draped in a shroud of night. Silence fell heavy. Their time may have run out. What would happen next? Could they escape this haunted detour, or would the darkness claim them forever? The figure stepped into the moonlight, revealing a face twisted in a grimace that made Travis's stomach drop. It was a woman, hair wild and tangled, wearing tattered remnants of clothing that fluttered unnaturally, as if caught in a breeze that didn't exist. Her eyes, deep and hollow, seemed to absorb the surrounding light. "Help me," she rasped, her voice a hollow echo of desperation and dread. "Go! Now!" Derek yelled, his voice shattering the thick silence. But Travis was frozen, spellbound. The woman's expression shifted, revealing a flash of anger that sent adrenaline coursing through his veins. Jamie grabbed Derek's arm, panic flaring in her eyes. "We can't just leave her," she cried, voicing the moral battle raging inside each of them. Travis finally found his voice. "What do you want?" he stammered. "Help me escape," she whispered again, the word wrapping around them like tendrils of fog. The air thickened with unnameable dread. Something stirred behind the woman. Shadows writhed among the trees, adding to the chilling aura that enveloped the clearing. "Don't listen to her," Derek shouted. "It's a trap." From the corner of his eye, Travis caught movement and unnatural shuffling, figures hidden among the trees, cloaked in darkness, all staring intently. Panic ignited. Why were they still here, entangled in another person's nightmare? The haunting resonance of the radio echoed back in his mind, a chorus of repeated warnings. Was it too late to turn around? "Travis." Jamie's voice pulled him back. Her eyes were wide, reflecting both fear and a desperate need for a decision. "We have to go. What if she is trying to lure us in?" The woman's voice rose, filled with urgency. "Please." "You don't understand. They'll get you too." The ground trembled beneath their feet, a deep rumble emanating from the hollow woods. Dread filled the air, as thick as the fog, wrapping its fingers around their hearts. Was this detour a mere twist of fate, or were they stepping into a trap laid long ago? Derek tightened his grip on the steering wheel as he looked back at the girl. "What do you mean? Who will get us?" His voice wavered, fear punctuating his words. Those who didn't escape. Her eyes flashed with a raw, unsettling fear. "You must turn back before it's suddenly." A chorus of voices erupted from the trees, eerie and overlapping, each one layered with rage and sorrow. "They can't leave. They belong to us now." Travis felt his heart race, the pounding echoing in his ears. The whispers swirled around him, a tempest of voices tightening the air, making it hard to breathe. "We can't let them take us," he muttered, barely coherent. The woman lunged forward, desperation etched on her face. "You don't have to end up like us." This place, the words cut off as shadows rushed forward, dragging her back into the dark. Derek slammed the gas pedal, the car jolting as they fled the clearing. But even as they sped away, the shadows clung to the edges of their vision, the whispers chasing them, piercing through the night. "Did you see that?" Jamie gasped, breathless. She was warning us. Why did we leave her?" "No!" Derek roared, voice cracking. "We need to get out of here before it's too late. This whole place, it's not right." But Travis couldn't shake the feeling rising within him as they barreled down the darkened road, chasing the last gleams of daylight. What had they just escaped? Was the woman's warning enough to sever their ties to this cursed road, or was something darker still lying in wait for them further down the path? Just then, a horrifying thought crept into Travis's mind. Was leaving her behind a choice or a curse they couldn't outrun? As the moon set behind them, something cold and sinister lingered in the air, reminding them that the horror was far from over. The car tore down the dark, winding road, headlights slicing through the thickening gloom. The tension hung heavy, thick as the fog that clung to the ground. Travis's heart raced, each beat echoing the frantic thoughts racing through his mind. They had escaped the clearing, yet a sense of dread filled the car like smoke. "Maybe it's not too late." Jamie's voice trembled, a whisper more for herself than anyone else. "We could go back. Help her." "Are you insane?" Derek shot back, eyes darting to the rearview mirror, as if expecting the shadows to be following. "That thing was a trap. We barely got away." "But what if she is telling the truth?" Jamie pressed, desperation fraying her usually steady voice. "What if we're just as trapped now as she was?" "No," Derek insisted, gripping the wheel tightly. "We can't turn back. We don't know what else is out there." Travis sat in silence, torn. He could still see the woman's wild eyes, and hear her frantic plea. The world outside the car felt like it was closing in. Shadows danced along the edges of trees, twisting into grotesque shapes that seemed to reach for him as they sped past. He felt the weight of their decision pressing down on him, and guilt gnawed at his insides. The road wound into an area saturated with darkness. Large trees, flanking them like sentinels, their gnarled branches reaching outward. Suddenly, a low rumble echoed around them, not from the car, but from somewhere deeper in the woods. It vibrated through the metal frame, rattling their bones. "What was that?" Jamie asked, her voice a mere squeak. "I don't know," Derek muttered, slowing the car to a crawl. "But I don't like it." As they crept forward, the headlights illuminated a large, rectangular object lying at the side of the road. Travis squinted, trying to make sense of it. "What is that?" Derek slammed on the brakes, tires screeching against the asphalt. The car jerked to a stop. "Get out, let us check it out," Travis said, though uncertainty clung to his words. "No way," Derek shook his head, eyes wide. "Are you serious?" "Just a quick look. We can't leave it." "It could be something important," Travis argued, struggling against the deep-seated fear that clawed at him. Jamie clenched her jaw, her grip tightening on the seatbelt. "What if it's another trap?" But against all better judgment, the curiosity pulled at Travis. "I'll go alone." "Just stay in the car," he said, forcing himself to sound confident. He opened the door, the chill of the night air biting against him as he stepped out. With each step, he could hear his pulse thrumming in his ears, loud and insistent. The object came into focus. It was an old wooden box, withered and half buried in leaves. He felt the hairs on the back of his neck stand up. "Travis! Get back!" Derek shouted from the car, but it sounded like a distant echo. Ignoring the warning, Travis knelt beside the box. The moment his fingertips brushed against the lid, a jolt of electricity shot through him, sending shockwaves of panic through every nerve. He hesitated, heart hammering. What if this was it? The answer to everything, or the gateway to something unspeakable. Suddenly, the box creaked open, revealing dark voids like hungry mouths. A whisper, softer than the wind, slipped from the dark interior, wrapping around him a familiar tone that sent chills spiraling down his spine. "Help me escape before they find you two." Travis's breath caught in his throat. It was her voice. The woman from the woods. He staggered back, heart racing, fear coursing through him. And just like that, the shadows around him grew deeper, darker, more alive. "Get in the car!" Derek yelled, panic breaking through. But Travis couldn't move. The shadows shifted, folding into each other, mesmerizing and terrifying. What had he unsealed? And more importantly, what were they unleashing upon themselves? "Travis!" Jamie screamed from the car, her face pale and frantic. What was about to emerge from the darkness? As Travis felt the tendrils of shadows coil around him, he realized that nothing was ever truly left behind. And in that terrifying instant, he knew their nightmare was far from over. This was just the beginning. What ancient forces were they summoning, and could they survive the horror awaiting them? Travis's heart hammered wildly, each beat laced with adrenaline, as he fought against the entangling shadows. They seemed alive, twisting around his legs like serpents, drawing him closer to the open box that beckoned him with the power of a chilling whisper. "Travis, for God's sake, get back now." Derek's voice was a frantic shout, shattering the dark spell that had momentarily gripped him. Travis stumbled backward, the air thick with a miasma of fear and uncertainty. He tore his gaze from the sinister void, where the woman's face flickered momentarily in the dense darkness, a mix of desperation and eerie calmness that sent chills coursing down his spine. He turned, sprinting back toward the car, each footfall echoing in the stillness of the forest. As he reached the door, Jamie grabbed his arm with a strength that surprised him. "Did you hear her?" she gasped, eyes wide with terror. "That felt real. We can't just ignore this." "No," Derek interrupted, voice shaking from more than fright. "You want to endanger us all over some ghost story?" The argument hung in the chilly air between them, as they stood on the knife's edge of panic. Travis could feel the shadows still swirling in the periphery, lurking where the headlights failed to reach. Suddenly, the low rumble echoed again, a vibration that seemed to rumble up through the earth itself. The groan came closer, deeper, and more ominous than before, like the awakening of something long buried. "Move! Get in!" Derek shouted, his voice unsteady as he fumbled for the keys, impatience surging through him like a wave. The sound intensified, rumbling through the trees, shaking the very ground. Travis grabbed Jamie's hand, pulling her toward the open door, but a sudden burst of sharp air hit them from the direction of the box. He turned back, the shadows now writhing as if they were orchestrating some cruel ballet, and for a fleeting second, he thought he saw something grotesque stirring within them. "Travis!" Jamie's voice shook him from a trance. Her eyes were wide, darting between him and the direction of the box. "We can't leave her." I don't know," he stammered, feeling the weight of their collective fear, the thick potent dread swirling in the air. "If we do this, we might be walking into a trap. It was meant for us." A sudden rush of wind swept through the trees, knocking leaves loose. They whirled around them, carrying with them faint whispers, voices calling out, melding into an urgent cacophony that seemed to beg, shout, and warn all at once. "Help us! It's not enough, help us! Shut it out!" Derek shouted, slamming his palm against the steering wheel. "We're leaving." But Travis froze as a familiar figure stepped out from the shadows, the woman from before, her eyes pleading through a haze of uncertainty. "Help me, I can save you," she whispered, though the words twisted like thorns in his mind. In that moment, the tension snapped. Derek dove into the driver's seat, slamming the door. "Don't you dare!" Jamie screamed, conflicting fear and compassion tearing her apart. "She needs us!" Before he could process it, Travis took a step toward the woman, heart pounding. What if Jamie was right? What if this was a chance to make things right, to save someone lost? But shadows erupted from the ground, swirling around him, and the darkness roared, "You shall not interfere with the reckoning." Travis felt despair crash against him like a tidal wave, vision blurring as he staggered back. The car was their only salvation, a tenuous lifeline to the world outside. "Get in! Now!" Derek screamed again, eyes wild as he revved the engine, the car shivering under the weight of the moment. Just as Travis turned to board the car, the box closed with a deafening slam. The echo rippled through the air, and Travis swore he heard a collective scream bleeding from the forest. They screeched away from the roadside, the headlights illuminating a path of chaos that seemed to tremble as they sped past. But even as they put distance between themselves and the horror, an unsettling awareness settled in. They had stepped into something far beyond their understanding, and now it was following them. In the rearview mirror, Travis caught one last glimpse of the shadows chasing them, a yawning abyss stretching open like a mouth ready to consume the light, and the voices swarmed around him screaming for release. "What have we awakened?" Jamie whispered, numb disbelief trailing as they drove forward into the unknown. And in that ominous echo of whispers, one question loomed larger than the rest: what pieces of their lives would they lose when the reckoning finally came? The car lurched forward, wheels spinning as Derek slammed the accelerator down, chasing empty road beneath the blanket of night. Travis felt a surge of relief mixed with dread as the familiar landscape blurred by. Yet, the howling wind outside clawed at his senses, and the shadows remained restless in his mind. "Why didn't we stop?" Jamie's voice quivered, panic flaring as she leaned closer into the cramped space of the back seat. What if she was telling the truth? Truth? Or a trap? Derek spat, his knuckles white against the steering wheel. "It doesn't matter. We're alive. That is all that counts." But in the depths of Travis's soul, doubt twisted like a knife. The woman's face haunted, yearning flashed before him again. They had run, but had they truly escaped? "Did you hear the screams?" he murmured, barely aware of his own voice. The reckoning, what if that's just the beginning of something worse? Jamie turned her gaze sharply, and for a moment, silence hung in the air thick as fog. The car's engine roared against the quiet, and their breaths felt shallow, anxious. We just need to think. We can't let fear dictate our choices, she urged, desperation lining her tone. What if there's still a way to help her? Derek shot her a look filled with disbelief. Help? It almost dragged you in. You think it'll be different next time? Travis's heart raced at the thought of Jamie being pulled into that shadowy abyss, and he leaned forward, fighting the rising panic. She is suffering. We can't just leave. What if a sudden jolt rocked the car, a violent shake that made Derek's grip falter? What the hell? He shouted. Up ahead, the road twisted and melted into a deep shadow that seemed darker than night itself, stretching endlessly before them. Slow down! Jamie yelled, palpable terror igniting in her eyes. This isn't right. But Derek's foot pressed harder against the gas. I want to let it take us. Keep your eyes on the road. Just then, a dark shape lunged into the light. A deer, eyes wide with fear, leapt from the bushes, barely missing the bumper. Derek swerved, heart-stoppingly close to disaster as they screeched past. What the hell was that? Jamie gasped, hand clutching Travis's arm. That was too close. Travis peered into the darkness around them, shadows shifting. It's like it wants to keep us here, he said, a sense of unease creeping into his thoughts. The whispers returned, more urgent and frenzied, swirling in the confined space like a storm. Help us separate it. It's not enough. What are they saying? I can't take this. Jamie cried out, tears glimmering in the headlights' glow. Derek shook his head. Ignore it. Just drive. But Travis could feel an inexorable pull, something sinister lurking at the edges of their reality. We need to turn back, he urged, fighting against the rising tide of chaos within him. Confront it. We can't keep running. You're insane. Derek barked, panic amplifying his anger. You really want to go back to that? To her? The words hung like lead weights. Maybe that's what we were meant to do, Travis said quietly, each word heavy with an unsettling truth. We might have a chance to end this if we face it head-on. Before he could finish, the world outside twisted and changed. Haze and shadows congealed into the figure of the woman again, her eyes piercing through the darkness like lanterns in a void. Her lips moved, forming words that echoed in his mind. Help, I need your help, you must choose. And then, the headlights flickered, swallowed by the encroaching blackness. The engine sputtered violently, a ghastly cough as the car began to shudder. Not now! Please! Derek pleaded, his voice a shrilled whisper against the mounting fear. With the shadows closing in fast, Travis barely spotted the clearing ahead where the forest thinned out into an opening illuminated by the implications of an agonizing choice. Let us go back! He shouted, feeling a mix of defiance and dread as he wrestled the wheel from Derek's trembling hands. They veered off the road, wheels crunching on gravel with reckless abandon, plowing toward uncertainty. Travis's heart raced as the shadows lunged forward, reaching with icy fingers, promising to pull them into the depths of despair. It was a path chosen not out of logic, but out of a desperate need to confront the reckoning they had awakened. Hold on, he shouted, adrenaline surging through him. But even as he pressed deeper into the darkness, the question loomed larger than the night around them. Would they emerge as saviors, or would they too become a part of the shadows? As they plunged forward, the air crackled with tension, and hope laced with fear felt like a precious thread stretched thin. Where would the reckoning lead them next? The headlights flickered back to life, illuminating the vast emptiness ahead, yet the flickering felt like a cruel joke. Shadows writhed and twisted as if they were alive, hungry for their fear. Travis stepped harder on the gas, heart hammering in his chest. Hey! Watch it! Jamie cried, grasping the oh-shit handle above her. Derek kept darting glances at the rearview mirror, eyes wide with panic. "There's nothing behind us," he yelled, desperation creeping into his tone. Yet something persistent tugged at Travis, a sense of being pursued. He looked back just in time to see the darkness shift, a swirl of black and gray shapes moving like a tide. "We didn't escape," he panted, the realization hitting hard. "It's still with us." The gravel crunching under the tires echoed like thunder in the fragile silence. Derek's grip on the steering wheel tightened, knuckles stark against the dim light. "We can't keep running from it. We have to face it." "Are you insane?" Jamie shot back, fear drawing her features tight. "That's what it wants. It wants us to go back. Maybe it's the only way." Travis's voice rose, filled with urgency. "We can't just abandon her." "The road?" Derek shouted, swerving to avoid a sinkhole that had opened unexpectedly, a gaping maw in the ground waiting to swallow them whole. The car's tires skidded against loose gravel, making the turn feel stadium-size, an amped-up roller coaster ride laced with panic. "Travis, you need to focus," Jamie said, her eyes wide with intensity. "The shadows, they're changing. What if we're moving towards something worse?" Travis's heart sank, but deep down, he knew they had to confront whatever darkness lay ahead. Derek slowed down. "We need to look for that clearing again. Something's not right." "I'm not slowing down," Derek snapped, his voice fraying. "This could be a trap, and I won't let it drag us back to her. I refuse." Yet the whisper surged louder, filling the air like a thick mist. "You will lose separated, help me." It was chaos, torment spilling from the unseen depths, echoing through their minds unyieldingly. "Can't you hear them?" Travis shouted. "Someone is in pain, and if we don't try to help, a sudden jolt threw them forward, the engine sputtering like a dying beast." The car lurched again, forcing Derek to wrestle with the steering wheel. "We're out of gas," he gasped, panic lacing his voice. "We'll be stuck here." "No, no, no!" Jamie screamed, the vehicle hitting a patch of mud that sent them skidding off the road. They were tumbling, racing toward the abyss of trees that swallowed their surroundings. The shadows thickened, claws of darkness clawing at their hearts, as Travis fought for control. He suddenly caught sight of frenzied movement in the trees. The woman again. She stood silhouetted against the oppressive darkness, beckoning with desperate hands, her form flickering like a flame in the winds of despair. "Please," her voice pierced through the chaos. "Help me." Before it's too late, but just as quickly, the vision melted into the shadows, leaving only the cold grip of fear, drawing them deeper into the woods. "Reverse," Derek shouted, sweat beading on his forehead. "Get us out of here." Travis threw the car into reverse, the trees blurring past, their branches clawing at the metal like angry spirits. But it felt like an impossibility. The more they fought back, the more the darkness circled. "Where are you going?" A voice hissed from somewhere within the ether, chilling and intimate. "There's no way out, you will have to choose." The ground shook as if the very earth was warning them, a trembling reminder of the depths they had awakened. The headlights pulsed erratically, and Travis realized they were not merely trapped, they were being hunted. "What is the choice? What do we do?" Jamie shrieked desperately, glancing at Travis, her eyes wide with terror. But before he could answer, blinding light poured in as an unseen force ripped through the shadows. The windshield vibrated with an unnatural energy, forcing them to shield their eyes, and in that blinding moment, Travis caught a glimpse of something that sent chills down his spine, a figure looming in the light, teeth glistening, eyes filled with darkness. "What the hell is that?" Derek's voice cracked, adrenaline coursing through the vehicle like wildfire. Travis's heart raced. This was the reckoning they'd awakened. The choice they had to make was just beginning. Would they fight back against the darkness, or would they succumb to the horror that loomed? As the light flickered and the shadows closed in from every side, he realized one thing above all. The choice was not theirs alone to make. "Please, help us!" A chorus of whispers echoed around them, the shadows closing in. What would happen if they didn't make it out of the night? What waited for them in that terrifying darkness? The blinding light faded, but darkness seeped back in, thicker and more malevolent than before. Travis squinted, heart pounding as the shadows crept closer, pushing against the edges of their vision. He could feel it, a palpable dread hanging in the air, as if the darkness itself held its breath in anticipation. "Derek!" Jamie yelled, voice frantic. "Do something! It's not just shadows!" Derek yelled back, grasping the wheel with white-knuckled intensity. "Something is out there with us!" Travis's head spun. The glowing figure had been terrifying, but now all he could see were shadows swirling, transforming into monstrous shapes that teased the edges of reality. "Just get us out of here!" he shouted, desperation clawing at his throat. The car lurched as Derek stomped on the gas, wheels spinning in mud, but they were trapped, a whirlwind of chaos unfolding around them. The headlights reflected disfigured faces in the trees, eyes glowing like embers in the dark. "Keep your eyes on the road!" Jamie screamed, flinching as another shadow collided with the car, rattling the frame. "Not in the trees!" A guttural growl reverberated, dragging itself through the night, sending tremors through Travis's limbs. The air was thickening with a horrible stench, like something rotten and ancient. "Look!" Jamie pointed to the side of the road, her voice quivering. "A clearing!" A faint glimmer of hope burst through the suffocating terror. "If we can just get to it, hold on!" Derek swerved toward the clearing, breathless, as the landscape shifted around them like a living nightmare. But just as they barreled forward, a figure emerged from the darkness, blocking their path. It was the woman again, but different this time. Her face was twisted in agony, eyes wild with sorrow. "You cannot leave. You want to survive." Derek slammed the brakes, tires screeching against the gravel. The car skidded to a halt, a breath away from her. "Back off!" Travis yelled, a surge of anger and fear fusing into one raw emotion. "We're not here to hurt you. Help me save them," she begged, her voice piercing through the thick fog of dread. "The others, they're trapped in her shadow." "Who?" Jamie asked, eyes darting from the woman to Travis. "The one you await," the figure whispered, and for a moment, everything went still. Then she pressed closer, raising a hand toward the darkness. "In the haunting of this place, it will take what it seeks. You must choose." "What kind of choice?" Derek demanded, trying to catch his breath, fear coursing through his veins like ice. "It's one or the other," she screamed, voice now tearing through the veil of silence, echoing off the trees. "Your lives or the one you lost?" Panic gripped Travis's chest. Those were the stakes? The question hung there, the weight of it suffocating. Who could even make such a choice? "Maybe we can save everyone," Jamie interjected desperately. But the shadows twisted around them, tightening like a noose. The whispers escalated, rising into a chorus of frantic cries. "Help us!" The car vibrated with a force that made them shudder. The shadows were closing in, driven by their hunger, a darkness born from their worst fears. "We can't just leave." "We can't!" Travis cried, squirming against the weight of the choice that loomed ominously before them. "Well, what do we do?" Derek's voice trembled, caught in the balances of fear and agony. "Time is running out." With the trees pressing in, a chilling laughter echoed, slicing through the tense atmosphere. The darkness shifted, revealing glimpses of pale faces, desperate eyes. "Make your choice, before it's too late," the woman urged, her form flickering, beginning to dissolve back into shadow. Before Travis could respond, the ground beneath them trembled anew, as the whispers grew into a roar, people's voices, cries of anguish, trails of sorrow that begged for release. He took a deep breath, wrestling with the weight of the moment, knowing clarity would come too late, if it came at all. "Who do we save?" he whispered, silently begging for an answer as the shadows loomed threateningly. As the darkness closed in tighter, that haunting question echoed, lingering on the precipice of despair. What price would they pay to confront the horror hiding in the night? Chaos erupted, the weight of the moment crashing down like a tidal wave as shadows coalesced into dark figures. Faces distorted in agony flashed through Travis's mind. He could see them lurking, clawing at the edges of his consciousness. The car felt smaller, the air suffocating. "Travis," Jamie pleaded, her voice cutting through his fog of despair. "What do we do?" I don't know." He felt lost, an anchor sinking into an abyss. "What if we can't save anyone?" Derek's knuckles turned white as he gripped the steering wheel. "There's no time for doubt. We can't just sit here." He shifted the gear into reverse, the tires spinning in the muck. The woman, that tortured spirit, flickered in and out of existence, each pulse a painful reminder of their reality. "Choose!" she screamed again, the ethereal echo haunting him more than the shadows creeping toward them. "The one you lost, or the lives in question?" Travis could feel Jamie's fear radiating from her, a palpable energy that threatened to drown them all. He glanced at her, searching her face for answers, for some glint of clarity hidden amidst the terror. "What if we try to save everyone?" His voice wobbled but remained firm, fueled by a desperate hope. "Then we're all dead?" Derek spat, the tension brimming as the car lurched back, the shadows lunging closer. A low growl reverberated again. This time it came from the depths of the woods, raw and primal. The whispers formed words, twisted pleas for help that clawed at both their minds and hearts. "Your hours come back." Choose rage boiled inside Travis. They weren't going to be the playthings of wraiths and shadows. "I want to let fear decide for us," he shouted defiantly, heart pounding as if it were a war drum in his chest. The woman's eyes lit with a glimmer of hope, but the shadows around her grew. "You must hurry. You must decide now." There was an explosion of sound, the laughter intensified, ringing like a chorus of lost souls echoing through the trees. It reverberated deep in his bones, electrifying his senses, pulling him into a vortex of despair. He choked on the stench, a putrid mix of decay and darkness, as he felt the weight of the shadows pushing against the car, moving it, shifting it, testing their resolve. "Travis!" Jamie screamed, eyes wide with terror as yet another form jerked too close to the wheel. "Hold on!" Derek yelled, throwing the car into drive and slamming on the gas. He barreled down a narrow path into the clearing, adrenaline surging. But the shadows were relentless. They surged back, filling the rearview mirror with monstrous forms and fear-laden faces, every lost life clawing at their sanity, every scream merging into a single voice of hopelessness. Each ghostly figure felt like a knife twisting in Travis's soul, puncturing every ounce of resolve. "Derek, stop! We can't just go!" He felt the panic seizing him again, the reality shifting as twinkling stars appeared overhead. But above them, the suffocating presence continued to close in, hungry and vengeful. As the clearing expanded, a shimmering anomaly flickered at the edge, inviting yet sinister. The bright light rippled in the dark, as if promising salvation and damnation all at once. "Travis, please!" Jamie implored, reaching for him, her hands trembling. "We can't keep running." His mind raced, trapped in a whirlwind of agonizing choices. The woman's voice echoed again, but softer, almost tender this time. "You must choose who you will save." With the shadows clawing at the car, his heart raced. Time slipped away like sand in an hourglass. A fleeting moment stung with regret, swirled with desperation and hope. But this choice felt irrevocable, heavy as stone. The growls intensified, pressed his thoughts tighter, until they were at a breaking point. Choose or lose yourselves. What remained of their chance at safety depended on his decision, Yet all Travis saw was the merging of despairing faces in the shadows. And then, with the darkness closing in around them, he felt a spark of revelation igniting within. What if he could save them all? The shadows paused, as if drawing breath, waiting for his response. Would it be a leap of faith, or a final plunge into their inevitable doom? "Who can I save?" he whispered into the growing night, desperation twisting his voice. With that, the shadows stirred again, creeping in greedily, as everything they feared erupted around them. The tension escalated, the urgency palpable, as darkness swirled in defiance against their choices. But there had to be a way out, even if it meant losing himself. What lay ahead remained uncertain, trapping them in an endless cycle of fear. Would their next step bring salvation or destruction? A weight hung in the air, thick and oppressive, as Travis's eyes darted between the pulsating shadows and the glimmer of light that seemed so far away. Each second felt like an eternity. The shadows were patient, hungrily circling their vehicle, waiting for him to falter. The choice weighed heavily on him, gnawing at his resolve. "Travis." Jamie's voice broke through the fog of his thoughts, cracking with urgency. "You have to decide. We can't let them take us." Her panic was infectious, igniting a fire deep within him. "They can't have us," he shouted, voice resonating with newfound strength. But even as he said the words, doubt crept in. How could one soul, lost among so many, weigh against the onslaught? The shadows seemed to swell, as if savoring his turmoil. "What if it's a trick?" Derek growled, eyes fixated on the encroaching gloom. "A distraction. We have to keep moving." "Moving where?" Jamie countered, her face pale. "Into deeper darkness?" Travis felt the urgency clawing at his chest. They had to act, but the weight of their past loomed larger than any spectral threat. The faces of the lost twisted through his mind, their silent screams resonating within the confines of the car. "Listen," he cried, gathering his thoughts. "What if the choice isn't just about saving one person? What if we can give them all a chance?" He felt a surge, a flicker of hope igniting in his chest. Derek twisted in his seat, eyes filled with a mix of disbelief and desperation. "And then what? Do you think they'll just let us walk away? They want blood." "No," Travis insisted, his voice echoing with defiance. "It's about confronting them. We need to face the shadows head-on. They feed on our fear. If we stop fearing them, maybe we can reach the light." Jamie's brow furrowed, her fear turning to determination. "What do we do?" Travis swallowed, clearing a lump in his throat. "We hold hands. We remember the lives we've lost. We face our pain together." Every pulse of anguish surged in his heart, each name a prayer. "Together, we can do this." Derek clenched his jaw, demeanor shifting as he took a breath. "Fine, but if we're doing this, we're doing it now." With hands linked, the trio formed a shaky bond of resolve. The shadows surged forth, swirling with chaotic rage, screaming souls clawing at their sanity. But Travis didn't flinch. He focused on every face that haunted him. Sarah, his sister lost in another time, another place. "Let us find peace," he shouted against the roaring darkness. "Let them go." The wraiths screeched, vibrating with fury, pain saturated the air. Their whispers turned angry, their twisted forms closing in, but Travis felt an electric pulse surge through him. It reverberated from their joined hands, a crescendo of defiance blending with hope. "Together!" Jamie screamed, her voice piercing like sunlight with a newfound strength. "Together, we stand." In that moment, a blinding light erupted from their clasped hands, illuminating the darkest corners of the night. The shadows recoiled as if stung, haunted faces flickering into focus, reaching out for salvation, a tortured, beautiful agony. It was a chaos of screams turning into whispers, pain mingling with forgiveness. But the light was fleeting, flickering like a dying star, as shadows writhed in agony, threatening to drown them. The wraiths lunged forward, and for a heartbeat, Travis felt the freezing grasp of despair closing around his throat. Would this light be enough? Just as fear threatened to consume him whole, something shifted. The darkness faltered, giving way. "Run!" he shouted, breaking their linked hands. He turned to the car, thrusting the door open, heart pounding like thunder. "Go! I'll hold them off." "No!" Jamie screamed, her eyes wide, fear etched in every feature. "You can't. Just go," he urged, fear and determination intertwining as shadows writhed around him, desperate to claim him. But as they hesitated and the world around him began to unravel, he saw something flicker in the corner of his eye a way forward. "Travis, please," Jamie begged, her arm reaching for him. As shadows closed in, he made his choice. "We can't lose ourselves." With a final look, he leaped into the fray, the shadows swallowing him whole. As the car tore away, the last vestiges of hope sparked within him. The shift in the air whispered secrets, urging him to endure, but the darkness seemed alive and hungry. How far could he bend before he broke? Could he hold the line against all the shadows that craved him? The shadows laughed, trembling with anticipation. What twisted fate awaited them all? Travis found himself enveloped in darkness, a weight heavier than despair pressing against his chest. The shadows surged around him, filled with anguished faces twisted in torment. "You chose!" a chorus of voices thundered, echoing through the suffocating blackness. Each syllable struck like a punch to his gut, igniting a fear he'd never known. But in that moment of despair, he remembered Jamie's and Derek's faces, hopeful and terrified, and with a flicker of resolve deep inside him, he summoned his courage. "I'll fight. I want to be a pawn in your game," he shouted, the words pouring from his soul like a declaration of war. Around him, the shadows paused, a momentary hesitation twisting through the air, as if taken aback by his defiance. Suddenly, images flashed through his mind: Sarah's laughter, their childhood memories, innocent moments now tainted by loss. He focused on those bright spots, reliving their warmth and love, and felt a glow kindling within him. "You don't control me," he screamed, throwing all his strength into his statement, the light shining through from his core, pushing back against the shadows as he erupted with the memories, allowing them to guide him. The wailing shadows shrieked in fury, their dissonance a cacophony that threatened to crush him. Each fragment of fear, every dark whisper that had ever haunted him blazed forth, bringing clarity. If this was a battle, then the light within him would be his weapon. Let them go. They deserve to be freed, he called, sounding resolute even to himself in that gloom. With each word he spoke, light pulsed and rippled outward, illuminating the vast emptiness like a beacon. The figures within the shadows shifted, and for the first time, Travis could see their faces not twisted and grotesque, but marked with pain. "Come to me!" he cried, his heart swelling with fierce determination. "You are not lost. You can find peace." Slowly, the shadows began to cease their chaotic lurching. Faces turned toward him, eyes dimming with uncertainty clearing, hesitant not out of malice, but from the torment they had endured. Blinding light burst forth, and he felt himself being pushed back, the golden glow bursting with a warmth akin to sunrise. In the clearing on the other side, Jamie and Derek emerged, eyes wide with disbelief and relief. "Travis!" they cried in unison. Their voices rang with hope, fueling the light surging around him. The shadows hesitated, flickering as if caught between their darker instincts and the light alongside the three, forging a united front. "Take their hands," he shouted, and without hesitation they moved to him, fingers intertwining in a chain of unified strength. The shadows twisted in protest, but now they were faced with a force birthed from love, defiance, and memory. Together, Travis declared, amplifying their courage. As the light swelled, the trickle of warmth began to consume the shadows inch by inch, making them dissolve back into the recesses of the forest. The air crackled with energy, bright and cleansing. The anguished screams faded to whispers, and finally dissolved altogether, lost to the night. With a final flash, the shadows were swallowed whole, their grasp breaking as the darkness retreated, reclaiming its territory. Suddenly, the weight pressing down evaporated, replaced by a liberating stillness that filled the air. Was it over? Heart racing, Travis turned to Jamie and Derek, lips parting in disbelief. Were they free? They all shared a glance that spoke volumes, a silent promise forged in survival, hope, and the acknowledgement that they'd faced the reckoning together. The danger had receded, leaving only a strange calm punctuated by the unique chirping of crickets. "We did it," Jamie whispered, her voice barely above a breath, as the reality of their actions washed over them. Slowly, the trio began to turn back towards the path leading home, hearts still thudding but lighter than before. "We'll remember," Travis vowed, feeling a fierce sense of belonging, "and we'll never take this road again." As dawn broke across the horizon, colors painting the sky anew, they finally emerged onto familiar ground. The sunlight spilling into their world felt like salvation. They each took a moment to breathe in the fresh air, a sense of normalcy returning amid the echoes of their harrowing night. In their hearts, they'd keep the memories alive, the spirits freed, and the longing extinguished. They'd learn that fear could be faced, bonds could galvanize their strengths, and choices, even the hardest ones, could lead to hope. And as they drove back, a radiant warmth filled the car. They were together, safe and alive, ready for whatever the next road might hold. And you need to join us for more incredible stories. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss a single exclusive tale. Smash that like button right now to feed the algorithm. I want to hear your thoughts, so flood the comment section with your reactions and theories about how Travis and his friends faced the darkness. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this powerful conclusion. Your support signifies you're part of this amazing journey. Don't miss out.